I love that.
As I found out mere seconds ago, my name is Paul, and I will be introducing us this evening. My name is Paul with CBSI. For all your comic book needs, check out comicbookinvest.com. We always have something coming your way. Contests, Writers Wars is going on right now. The sign up is over, but you can watch and see what people who have not been writing for CBSI are putting out there, and Instagram. We're all over the place for anything you need. Our favorite Friday topic, our Hot 10, and so check us out. Boys, introduce yourselves.
Just like every good CEO, I just delegate my responsibilities. So I'm Dino. I don't really have much to say. Happy Monday, I guess.
I'm Brian. I'm praying to the Lord Stanley and the hockey gods. Give us a San Jose Carolina finals, please.
I do want to see San Jose take the cup. I want to see Bob Thornton get one.
Sounds so wrong that those are the cities you're rooting for.
What?
Sounds so wrong. Two southern cities.
San Jose and Carolina?
Yeah.
San Jose is not southern.
Well, I mean, it's like California. Like, I don't know. It's like LA winning the cup. Yeah.
I want to see Joe Thornton win a cup. I want to see Brent Burns win a cup. And I'll get into it later.
Okay.
All right. John Z. I know shit about hockey, so I can't contribute there, but going to take you guys deep into the rabbit hole tonight on the pickups. So that should be interesting.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to that. Z's pickups are always the best.
Except when you find a variant, honey hole.
Well, I'm hoping that might be next week, but
oh, damn you.
I'm gonna come, dude. You know what? I'm coming down to see you. Fuck it.
And I'm Ben S. And did you guys see that shot Kawhi Leonard made?
Oh, that was beautiful. It was so cool, that picture that they released, where it's Kawhi and who's the dude the big dude
Embiid.
Yeah, and Joel Embiid and a couple other guys, and they're just watching it to see if it's going to drop. And they have a picture of that exact second right before it dropped. It's a really good picture.
Yeah, that was like once in a lifetime.
Yeah. Well, he did that against another team earlier in the season. That same exact thing.
Where the ball was bouncing around like that?
Yeah, it bounced like 3 times, and they won the game. And it was a last-second shot. Same exact thing.
Ugh.
You can find it on like Twitter. I'll look for it later on and
That's
see
crazy.
the team. Yeah, it's nuts. So,
got some pickups, anybody? Let's roll it out.
I'll go first, I guess. I got a few.
It looks lighter in Dino's house today.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the lighting. I don't know.
There's no cats.
You clean off.
Well, the cat. I got one in the corner over here.
Clean off all the nicotine from your lamps, finally.
Hey, you don't worry about what I got going on right here. No, I got so Ben hooked me up and Ben gave me a bunch of books. I got Ben's books. So Ben gave me a bunch of hack books. I guess I can show all these tags, right, dude?
Yeah, who cares?
Okay.
They're all at half price books. So
so like Doctor Who classic hack stuff.
well, that's nice to find the older stuff.
Yeah, and these Doctor Who books are really hard to find because there's so many Doctor Who fans. This is Doctor Who, I guess.
Well, there's so many, but yet so few.
Yeah, and this is a 7 Doctor one, so these are like, those are just tough books to find. This is number 4, Doctor Who 7 Doctor, number 4. This is, I guess I can keep going. He gave me a whole bunch of these. Then I have number 1, 2, and 3 of the same series. So I just did in order, but yeah, just like Doctor Who. Yeah, just the fans. Everybody tries to, there's a bunch of Doctor Who cosplay, just,
Oh, that's a cool cover.
Yeah. I didn't watch Doctor Who. Anybody watch Doctor Who here?
I didn't watch it either. I remember it being on when I was a kid on Channel 8. I watched Monty Python, but I didn't watch Doctor Who, and they were always on around the same time.
That's another good one, I guess. I don't know. I don't watch Doctor Who, so I don't know. X-Files.
Currently, Indianapolis has one of the biggest Doctor Who museums because I remember the IndyCons they'd come out in force.
Oh yeah, dude. This is X-Files season 11, number 5. Hat cover.
Yeah.
Got one of those kind of Sabrina vibes almost.
Yeah.
Well, it's made by Archie, it looks like.
It has Archie cover in a month.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's why, yeah.
Is that
Yeah, so
Sabrina
that is
on it?
Sabrina. Yeah, it is Sabrina.
So
Oh, that's probably a good book to look out for.
and this is another one. This is a super secret version variant from a foundation charity. Mr. Leg hooked me up with there. He saw a 9.8 on the old eBay, and I was like, ugh, but I bought the raw instead. It's a it's Bink Foundation, BINC. It's limited to 400, I guess. So
What
Wow,
book
that's
is that?
badass.
What book is that?
A Walk Through Hell variant?
a walk through hell, number 1. It's a limited edition to 400 charity variant that Hack did.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You can get them cheap, honestly. Like I'll tell everybody what I paid for. I mean, I paid like $20 for it.
Yeah.
But the 9.8 was like $100 or $200 or something. I was like, I don't,
I don't chase 9.8s for the kind of just the artist thing. It's you'll go broke.
yeah, I'm good. I mean, and the problem with Hack right now, not the problem, but he's kind of like Art Germ. He's doing more and more stuff, man. It's just hard to keep up,
As long as he doesn't turn into J. Scott Campbell.
Oh God.
Hey Ben, speaking of chasing people, is there anybody any covers for Art Germ that you just threw your hands up on?
The Lady Death, the Kickstarter that was numbered out of 77 or 66 or whatever it is. To buy the buy-in on that for the 3 covers was like $800.
Did you buy in? What was the other one he did recently that was expensive? The one with Catwoman and
Black Cat?
no, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, were the 3 of them.
Oh, yeah, the
Comics 1000, or was it that
Detective
one?
1000, yeah.
Oh no, I got that one. That's
okay.
the one. That's the one they sent me with the Virgin one was
Yeah.
was creased. Yeah, which I still haven't got that back yet. It's been like a month. But
Yeah, I didn't know if one day Dino would hit that same wall where it's like just
No,
I think it's
unattainable.
pretty early on for Hack to get there.
yeah, the new books aren't bad. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's like the Archie books are. I mean, he's still an artist where I would say relatively. I wouldn't say unknown, but relatively unknown. Where his books are still like $5, $6, $10. I mean, it's not like it's $800.
yeah, he doesn't have any store variants where you have to buy 3 of them that cost you $80, and he does it 4 times a month.
Yep.
Yeah, that.
A little savagery. Little. I can feel the anger.
My guy from West Virginia that took me to the LCS dig into the dungeon, he went and saw Hack at Pittsburgh the other day and said he was really, really cool. Nice, down to earth dude.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, he seemed like a cool dude. I mean, he actually responds to me on our Instagram when I have like questions. So that's cool. Who's next? Anybody next?
Paul, do you have anything?
yeah.
You doing
I
your
ordered-
knife pickup or just books?
What?
Are
Yeah.
you doing your knife pickup or just books?
No. I got this free book that someone sent me, so that's always
Oh.
cool. I appreciate that.
Okay, wait. Was it a eBay guy, or was it just a fan? Was it a fan?
Oh no,
No, we don't have those.
no. As a book I bought online, he threw a freebie in. I got a couple infamous Iron Man. I have the 1 in 25 variant,
Ooh.
and then I also got the 1 in 10 variant, and so it's kind of a pickup / speculation.
We
And
do spec on here.
from Blue Moon to Blue Moon, we do. But so correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but in this book, Tony Stark makes his first appearance in AI.
Yes,
And-
first AI Tony Stark.
And so what's the book that's after this that people think is the first AI Tony Stark?
the Invincible Iron Man #1, the one with Riri.
Okay, I thought so. But so the spec is that we think they're going to use Robert Downey Jr. in a future movie, maybe Spider-Man: Homecoming, as AI. And I don't know if that spec came from you, Ben, or a collaboration. I was only involved in the fallout of buying the books.
No, I mean, I didn't really know what the first. I was in that group that thought that it was the Riri, that Invincible Iron Man was the first appearance of it, but then found out that this infamous Iron Man came first. But I could totally. I mean, they paid him what, $70 million for Endgame,
Yeah,
which is, I mean, just insane.
I thought
But-
it was closer to like
I think it's
100.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's even more now.
It's
They're
a
at
Batman deal,
700
so-
million, or 700 million is what they're at right now for Endgame, and I think he got what, like, how much on the back end did they say he got?
It's a big number, but they say
Yeah.
it's tracking for 100
Yeah.
million.
So why not? I mean, why not use him?
I believe in it. I believe in it, but I don't believe that it's going to be huge. Just maybe due also to his price. But I think it'd be neat if they used it in Homecoming, where Peter's in some sort of really tough spot, and Iron Man comes in on his suit and kind of gives him, a moment of encouragement to help him through.
I think that's why
that's
he had those glasses.
that's my guess, is that it'll be a kind of a flash in the pan, but it could be bigger. I mean, it does sound like a price thing, but it would be pretty cool for the story too.
I mean, when you think about where they've come as far as the the de-aging process and stuff like that, with how it looks seamless now, I could totally just see them saying, you know what, RDJ, just throw in a few lines here. We'll pay you $5 million. You never have to show up on set. You never have to do anything. We'll just create you.
That's what they did for Spider-Man: Homecoming. He played a smaller role in that movie. Obviously, he worked only 3 days, and he earned $5 million a day. For 3 days of work.
Yeah. I mean, so why not?
$5 million each day. So he made $15 million to work 3 days.
So Emiliano has corrected me. It was Mel's spec, but then Topher found the actual issue that I picked up.
Okay, yeah. I don't remember who said it first, but I think it's a good thing.
And then so anyway, that was a spec pickup, but back to just regular pickups. I have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IDW, the Detroit Fanfare convention exclusive, and yeah, these are up and down on eBay. Usually they're pretty pricey. So this one was not bad. I think maybe $30 or something.
You gonna get Eastman or somebody to sketch on it?
I don't know. I actually have a small handful, so who knows? I'm sure they'll all be dead by the time I get around to doing something with them. But
how many did they make of those blanks?
that's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to find out, and I don't know. I'll look it up, see if I can find it when someone else is showing their pickups. I got 2 more. I picked up a slew of Superman Red Sun number 398s, and I don't know what's wrong with the slabs. I need to get them reslabbed because the books, I'm thinking it's on the interwell, but the books look terrible. But I picked up a Red Sun 298.
Is it Newtonian rings?
No, it's like it's rubbed or scuffed. It looks really strange. I could send you some pictures, but
rubbed and scuffed. They got beat up in those slabs. Are they the Franken slabs?
Maybe.
No winter well.
I'll have to show you.
Especially on that thick book, man, they would probably be murder.
Toasty.
Probably. I'll have to show you. But so I picked that up, working my way to number 1, then I'll have a set. Hopefully a set that looks good. And then I bought this during our last show, just on a whim. I wasn't really even looking for it. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Volume 4 from Mirage number 25, signed by Eastman. It's a 9.6, but the book alone goes for like $80 raw, if that. They haven't come up in a while. But 20 25 is Leonardo walking into the portal, and 26 is him coming out. So I just saw that. I think this slab book was maybe $80, or it wasn't too terrible. Good enough where I was just buy it now. So I picked that up, and that's it.
Cool.
Sweet. Here, Brian, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go real quick. I just have a couple. Ben S hooked me up with this pickup at 2, so a couple of us on the show lucky to get some crumbs from him. He hooked me up with Matt Day and over at Anti-Hero Collectibles. So Matt, thank you very much, man. I've been looking for this book forever. Seems like they show up in a flood when you're looking for them, and you finally found one, because I found 2 since I picked this up. But this was the first one I ever actually pulled the trigger on. So thank you very much for this. This is Hack Slash number 14. It is I'm not sure which like B cover or C cover, but it is actually Jenny Frisson's very first work, but it got put out after Voltron number 1. Does that sound right, Ben?
That's correct.
Yeah. So this is really her first stuff that she ever drew, but it
was 2008.
Yeah.
2008.
And you can see, I mean, it's definitely Frisson, but you can see it's kind of gnarly. It looks cool. I like it. And definitely because I pick up the creator stuff, I'm really stoked about that. So thanks, Matt Day over at Anti-Hero Collectibles. So for you guys that are out there. And then the last thing real quick here is, I mentioned this to maybe on the show last week, and I had never gotten any of these. Brian and Ben had both talked about them, and these are those living. What do they call them? The living.
Oh, the Topps Living set.
Yeah, Topps Living set, and it was really cool how they came, because I never seen them. They come in these little, bags like this, and then and then they come in these little packages. And these boxes that they come in are really freaking cool. And what they're the best thing about these boxes is you can just leave them in the boxes and I'm not even going to look at the soccer set, just because I only got one, and I'm just going to leave it in the box and throw in, what I paid for it and put it away. But that's the soccer set that has the Messi and 2 other players. I'm not too big on the other players. I think, Dino, do you remember who they were?
Yeah, I can talk about it real quick. You said Top Living.
Yeah.
I bought that too, but I haven't got mine yet.
Yeah. That was a perfect. I mean, I wish I'd have bought a couple more, to be honest, of that first set with the Messi. But this is the how the top sets come, and I never bought in on the top sets, but they offered a card, a player, and a card and this is, you pull them out of the box, and they got this little pad in there, and then they've got this little thing on here. And then let's see if I can open this real quick. But I haven't ever bought the baseball living sets, but I kind of kept my eye on it just because Ben had talked about it early on with the Aaron Judge, the first one, and then I think there was a couple other players that have popped recently that have been pretty good in that set. But I bought 7 of one player just because is a player that's got a lot of hype, and I forget who said it on the boards last week, and I apologize, but yeah, we were wrong about Vladimir Guerrero being, his cards are the ones to get this year, because the way baseball works is a lot of the players that are coming up now, or might now just be first getting their taste in the major leagues, they're rookies in baseball. Well, I don't know how they do that with baseball cards anymore, but either rookie or pre-rookie, whatever you want to call it, usually come in Bowman like 2 years or sometimes even 3 years before their actual rookie year in baseball. But this is the Vlad Guerrero card.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I can't believe how well designed these cards are, with the heritage sets all picking up a lot of buyers. they really did well on these living sets, and I'm glad I got it. So keep your eyes out there. Ben and Brian Wood have been talking about Topps.com for a long time, and they've got some really cool stuff. So
I think it's just so everybody knows. I think it's Romelu Lukaku from Manchester United, maybe, and Weston McKennie from Schalke.
Yep.
Romelu Lukaku is a good player. I mean, I don't know too much about McKennie from Schalke, but
What was the? Did you find out what the print run on that Guerrero was?
No, I haven't even looked yet. I need to go back and look.
I did. I looked at the soccer and I saw that they were all about 3,500 is what they ended up settling at.
That's not bad. I mean, to pick up a set, it was only like $20, I think, at the most.
It's yeah, and it's shipped. I mean, it includes shipping, so it's not much.
So that's these are great spec ideas. Great spec ideas.
The print run was 19,396
on Guerrero.
Yeah,
the soccer or the Guerrero. Okay,
the Guerrero. So that was it breaks a print record, I believe, for Topps.
Yeah,
that's
perfect.
over 2,000. The who's the designated hitter, printer, or pitcher from the Angels, Ohani.
Yeah.
Ohani. Yeah, he sold out 17K roughly. So,
Brian, I want to jump back in when you're done.
I'm done. Yeah, go for it, man.
Before I think the other guys might have some better stuff. So I was looking it up. I didn't find a print run yet, but I didn't know this. There's two versions of that Detroit Fanfare. There's the exclusive blank, and then there's the exclusive blank corrected matte finish second printing. And so it says the entire first print run was mistakenly printed on glossy cover stock. So since you can't really sketch on that, a second print run with matte covers was made, and on the interior it says second printing, which is probably what I see on Amazon. There's 9 copies at $28.49 each right now, but I don't know about a print run. I'll have to keep digging. But I did have one other pickup. I don't know when this was. Over a month ago, Brian Wood sent a link to Mondo had like a Ninja Turtle pack thing you could buy. So it came with a little pin. So I picked. You could pick a pin. I picked Mikey, and then it came with the Mondo figure. So I picked Mikey for that too. And I came with a poster, but I left the poster in the tube. I can't. It's been so long. It took them forever to ship, but I couldn't remember which.
What's the difference in the heads?
Poster I got. The one that's on him is orange, and then the alternate head is red because originally they all had red bandanas.
Yep.
So that's it. I just wanted to close it out. I forgot that finally arrived. I emailed Mondo and I said, "Where's my stuff?" And said, "Oh, we're working to fill it." And I finally got a shipping notification. But worth it. It was worth it.
Awesome.
Worth the wait.
All right, Z, I'll go before you because you probably got way better stuff than I do.
Relative, just weird.
I will say I haven't got them in yet, but I bought the first 2 items all since December off of eBay this week. So I've actually bought 2 things. Haven't bought anything off eBay all year.
Wow.
And so those will be here like in a day or 2 or something like that. So I did get Dino. Dino sent me this, and I finally was able to get his books to him. But he did send me that Art Germ, the Walmart, that Walmart Captain America.
Sexy.
Yeah. So I was pretty happy with that. Thank you, Dino. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's
9/8 popping up. I think I saw at least one.
I don't know. I don't know if the one I sent you was 9/8. It might have a ding on it, maybe.
Nah, I don't. That makes no difference to me. I don't really care because I'm not. I have one graded Art Germ book at all, and that's it. And that's only because somebody. That's only because Philip Chung hooked me up with that, and I wouldn't even have. It's just too hard to store.
I mean, that's a hack thing too, Ben. You know what's funny? At my hack adventure, sorry to cut you off on this.
Oh no, you're good.
I'm already one short box in on my hack adventure, dude. One short box full of his books.
Yeah, my Art Germ is a full long box, and yeah, I mean, I just there's no point in me sitting there grading a bunch of them, but I did hit. There's a store that actually opened today It's about 10 minutes from me.
Mhm.
And so I ran down. It was like a soft opening. I guess his grand opening's not for another 2 weeks, but he soft opened today. So I stopped in there this afternoon because he was like, oh, everything in these boxes are $1. So I was able to, I'll just run through. Yes, I'll just run through some of these dollar books real quick. I got the Wonder Woman #7, what is that? The first, I don't know, cheater or new cheater or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Got a Young Justice 1. That's the Wonder Girl cover.
That's cool.
Bizarro 4. That's a really cool looking Zatanna cover.
Yeah.
I got 4 copies of Astonishing Ant-Man. The first, what is that? Cassie Lang is somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a $10 or $15 book, something like that. I got 4 copies of These Savage Shores #1.
Ooh.
That's still like a $30 book.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised.
The world is confusing.
Yeah. I got a couple Justice League combo pack variants for $1. I got a Green Lantern 48 and 49, the newsstand.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which are actually much harder to find than the DCU variants of those.
For $1.
Yeah, for $1.
For $1.
DCUs. No.
Batman Gotham Adventures. It's a really cool Flash Batman cover. Let's see here. What else? 2.
Oh, we lost everything.
Oops. 2 Mockingbird #1s. That's the first Red Widow. Whatever
I
that
wouldn't
is.
even know about that stuff, man. It's like,
Yeah, I just something pass it by if I was looking at those in a box. Shoot.
I got a ton of these Justice Society of America. Like I think they're 1 in 10 variants. There's a ton of them. #3, 4, 5.
I had a pile of those because when Steel hit Legends.
Yeah, 6, 7. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them, but I mean they're $1 a piece, so I just bought them all. I don't even know who's on that cover, but that's a pretty cool looking cover. Let's see here. And then an Ultimate Spider-Man, 26, whatever that is. New. I don't know.
Taskmaster.
Yeah, whoever it is, I don't know. It's probably not even worth anything anymore, but it's worth at least $1, I think. So I went ahead and got that. And then yesterday, I got in for some of you who don't read my articles. I do a ghost hunting article on CBSI occasionally, whenever I have the time to do it. But I actually did one a little bit over a month ago. And one of the books that I put on there was a book by Josh Howard. It was a Dead at 17, and it was not a Kickstarter, but a GoFundMe exclusive. And it basically looked like the print run was probably under 50 of this book. And about 2 weeks after I published the article, I follow him on Instagram. And he posted a picture of that cover, and then he had it as an updated version. So he had something, because this book came out in, I don't know, 2010 or 2009 or something like that. And then he did an updated version, and I commented and I said, hey, I just did an article on that exact book. And he direct messaged me and said, hey, I've got an extra copy. Send me your address. And so I got that in yesterday.
Wow.
So it's a Dead at 17, the Blasphemy Throne #1. It's a
Wow.
It's a what is it? What did I just say? The GoFundMe. Yeah, GoFundMe variant. It's exclusive, and it's pretty much an homage to like the Tropicana baby, but it's got like zombies and stuff on it.
Is it signed too?
Yeah, he signed it down here in the bottom corner as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, Josh Howard, I was pretty happy with that. So thanks, Josh Howard.
Sweet.
Can't ask much for more than that.
Hey, before Z goes, are you all because I'm from Detroit, right? So it's like going to Charlotte. Do I pass you kind of?
Yeah. You should come right. You'll come right down 75
Oh, buddy. Next month.
next month.
Tell
me
me what take you to somewhere that he has picked clean.
I know. So Thursday the 13th. That's when I'm heading down.
Of June.
Okay. So I don't know. I mean, we got to stop for lunch. I mean, that's probably a good halfway point, maybe. I don't know.
There's a spot. There's 2 spots right off of 75 that we'll hook you up with.
Okay. Cool. Okay, Z. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. I went a little all over the place as usual, but my wife was amused because I got packages from 3 countries in one day, so I think it's a little more so than normal. Picked up a little pre-code horror.
Nice.
First one's Horrific number 6. This guy popped up on eBay for like $35, and I couldn't pass it up. I mean, it's not high grade; it's missing a piece, but it's
those Horrific books are hard to find, man.
They are, and mostly Don Heck covers. They're the one that's the run with kind of the big faces.
Yep.
This one's kind of got the Headhunter. Lots of cool colors. It's a little bit. This one's actually a little bit kind of in the cool color spectrum with just all the vividness, but I just don't pass them up when I can find them. So
cool.
Picked up a Ghost number 2, which is a title of a comic, unlike Ben's, which just mean you can't find them.
I saw a guy on Instagram hawking a bunch of Ghost books. Did you see that dude?
I probably bought one of them, but I don't know.
That's a good looking cover.
It is.
Yeah, it's another one in the run. I can't think of the number. It gets most of the heat. It's got the red dress and the kind of goblin-y guy. But this one stands out as a nice one. It's got the yellow kind of dress and the crazy little ghost sprites down here and a creepy guy in the corner. So, if you can find pre-code horror in a reasonable price, just kind of buy it,
Yep. Can never go wrong with that, man.
For sure. One of my 3 foreign mailings came from the UK. I'd been eyeing this book for a couple of months, and he had it too high. I think he must have got bored and finally threw it up at auction. It's a UK edition of Mary Marvel 11, a Golden Age book.
Ooh.
And it's really, it's not really got a traditional glossy cover. It's just like a newspaper type printing. But what got me is just the coloring is really unique. I brought down my US copy, which is bigger. These are kind of small.
That's interesting.
But it's got like the silver coloring instead of the traditional gold. I don't know if it's because of the format, because of what. And it also kind of has a slightly different look on the wording. I don't know if it's just the coloring or if it actually is a different.
The coloring almost makes it look sun faded.
Oh, and it's almost like a little more eerie to me.
Yeah. It's like black and white. It's weird. It's like black and white, but it's, what I'm saying, like that.
It's red and gray tone versus the other one that's got really vivid fire color on the other one with the oranges and reds and yellows.
Maybe yellows were hard to. What year was that printed?
I don't know, in the 50s. Maybe
the
40s.
Yeah, that UK one looks like she's almost in hell.
It does.
Maybe it's part of World War II, right? The 40s, right? I mean, maybe yellow was hard to find.
Yeah. Did that UK one come out at the same time?
I think similar. I didn't look at the date, but it was definitely in the same ballpark. It's not like a later reprint.
And DS Comics says gold stuff to come out on paper too, because it comes out looking brown. So maybe
that could be it. Like I said, it is just a very bare bones, like folded newsprint type thing. But some guy was auctioning a bunch of them. I should have bought more, but this one just really, it just was eerie enough. It spoke to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Buy what you like, man.
Big fan of Mary Marvel and whatever. I bought 3 more of the non-canon Spideys. Actually, only one was foreign. I bought this from what I thought was an Australian seller, but it came from Peru, so God only knows. But this has a cool Kazar cover. Not one of my favorites in the run, but I couldn't pass it up at the price. because it was in Australia and an auction, nobody was watching it, I guess. These things have been picking up. They're selling regularly would be a exaggeration because not many come to market, but a lot of this, the standard kind of non-canon issues are hitting 150, $200. So if I can find it near 50, I'll buy it. This one I actually got is one of the rarer ones. It's number 181. It's got Gwen in some kind of funky go-go legging boots. But anything after 180 is really kind of tough. They're at the end of the run, 180 to 185. And actually like 183, 4, and 5 are really, really tough. But this one, a seller put it up for like $35. I hit Insta buy. He then messaged me. I thought he was going to cancel. He goes, I actually meant to have that on 50% off sale, but you bought it before eBay kicked in. So he gave me a 50% rebate.
Oh, gosh.
So I was very happy. To me, this is kind of one of the nicer covers in the run. Just anything with the kind of Gwen on it and funky 70s
if
clothes.
you had any more?
I should have, but I didn't want to tip him off. And then,
well, that's a really cool seller to actually just go ahead and give you the discount anyway.
I would have not said a word. I didn't pay attention. He just shot it to me. I was ecstatic. And then I bought this one's for Robert. I know he's out there. Number 180, also known as the Big Booty Gwen. Calm down, Mel. As you can notice, her assets are very much
out there
in this particular one. To me, this is probably the second most famous in the run behind the wedding issue. I paid probably full market value plus on this one, but I just don't see them. I've been watching this run for 3 or 4 years, and this is only the second one I've seen for sale, and I've bought them both when I see them. So got some for cheap, and I got some that I paid a premium on and just accepted it. So
cool.
And then the last piece, I bought another piece of art.
Oh, my man.
This one's a bit out there. My buddy George from Ohio sent me the link on this one, and I don't know whether it's true, whether it's not. I did a lot of Googling and researching on it. It's an odd piece. It is actually on, just a binder, artist binder kind of sketch pad paper. But what it was listed as untamed art.
Oh.
From Stranger.
Nice.
And if you got into the listing, it was called the original first concept drawing for the Untamed. Kind of got research in it, and it was by the listing was sold by and was actually listed by, and the PayPal was all Peter Berting, who did the art for that issue. Kind of just said, "Does he have any others, anything else?" And he's like, most of the stuff was done digital, so really it didn't have much actually on paper. So while it's not like an original cover or original art, it is a pretty cool kind of unique piece. So
that's sweet looking.
Yeah, I agree. It was sweet enough and unique enough that I just said I'm gonna buy it and give it a nice home. So I have no idea if it really has any long-term value or whatnot, but you find something like that just is out of left field and you won't see again, you buy it.
Cool. Since we're kind of short people, I know we kind of spent a little bit of time. I'm going to highlight one other person's pickups because I think it's important. So Tony L on our Forgotten Five Comics page, Instagram page, poured up with see if I can present my screen too, with his pickups. So he went kind of hardcore. Yeah. So he went with Phantom Lady.
Yeah, he killed it. Jesus.
Yeah. And he still got one that he's waiting on. So that should be pretty cool.
I mean, those Canteen Kates.
Yeah, run down the list for anyone on iTunes. Do you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. So he has some 7 C's, a Matt Baker cover.
A lot of Baker covers.
Those seven C's books, I have those saved on my eBay searches, and I get a notification. I click on it, and it's already sold.
Yep.
Like instant. I mean, they're like insta sales. And I think Tony actually might have sniped that one for me. I think I was.
Ooh.
I clicked on it and it was already gone, and I was like, "Dang it!" And then I saw he was like, "Hey, look what I picked up," and I was like, "Hey!" I was
Hey. So he's got Phantom Lady number 2, which is Matt Baker art. I'm gonna go through the list. I don't know them all by
There's
heart.
2 of them.
Yeah, he has 2 of them. One for at a CGC 4.5, one CGC 3.0. A Matt Baker 7 C's. I'm gonna get the issue number. He's probably actually commenting on it right now. 1.8.
But it looks nice for a 1.8.
It's a number 5. Canteen Kate, is that 1?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got 2 copies of number 1.
Yeah, raw, and then a CBCS 2.5. Crime Does Not Pay 6.5, which is I don't know. That's the electrocution cover.
yeah, that's a classic cover.
Yeah, that's number I don't know this one. I'm trying to look at my is that 42 maybe? Another Crime Does Not Pay 4.0, and then looks like, is that a Mexican variant of Death? Like
That is Crime Mysteries. I gotta have the US cover. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. It's I know it's a Crime Mysteries.
Yeah. So he has that
cover.
Yeah. And then he picked up a War book, and then the Hooded Menace book, and then the Wings Comics book in a bag. Guy's killing it out here. Plus
That
he's got
War
one,
series is real tough to find anything on.
and then he's got another banger coming out. He's just waiting for shipping to roll around. Hooked him up on that deal too. Can't wait.
Is he selling kidneys up there, or
No, you don't know the wall, baby. You know, you got to protect that thing. It don't come cheap. You know what I'm saying?
I guess, man, he is on a roll.
Yeah. So he's killing it. So
Yeah.
that was a good day. So I'm happy for him. He writes a lot for the website, so he knows his stuff when it comes to Golden Age.
The Atrocities of War article.
Yep. Everybody needs to kind of check that out if you haven't. So
Tony's young. Oh, Witch's Tale 9.
yeah, Witch's Tale 9. Yep. Sorry.
All right, Tony, I failed.
We all failed. So.
Do you guys have any stores near you that even sell Golden Age?
No.
I got one.
guess,
Actually, yeah, I got one.
I got
A
one.
hodgepodge. I mean, you got to dig and get lucky to find anything good. They got.
Yeah, there's no pre-code horror. There's no golden. I mean, are you counting like Daffy Duck and like Toon stuff? I mean,
No.
Okay.
No.
You don't have like real Golden Age stuff. And, I mean, it's few and far between. I mean, the biggest store I have out here, they would do it, but I don't know. Let's see if they even have any Golden Age in their eBay. We can look.
I can get a Golden Age once in a great while. As just they'll have a few boxes of it that behind the counter, and every once in a while
They got
it's one Ben, and I dig through it every once in a while, and sometimes something new pops up.
I got 76 listings by me, but it's anything like it's like boy comics. Like, does that even count? I mean, Captain Midnight. I mean, I'm not looking for that, I guess. If I go highest to lowest, I have Fantastic number 8, Captain Science, Harry Harrison book. Archie Pal and Gals number 1.
That Archie stuff is if you're finding a stash of Golden Age, look through that because most stores still undervalue the Archie stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it at $300. He knows what he has.
I'm just saying, if you're out there in the wild, look for Archie and look for something with just amusing cover or Betty and Veronica on it.
Yeah, or probably sub 50.
Yeah,
Anything below.
Anything DiCarlo will sell.
You get a Young King Cole, Detective Tales number 1 though for $50. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Some of the crime books are like, some of them are pretty cool, but some of them, I mean, like I try to find like old number 1s, I guess. I know we're kind of morphing on the Golden Age talk, but I do have a it's upstairs. I should grab it. I got a Authentic Police Cases number 1 that I got from Paul from your store.
I know. Yeah. Number 1, people collect those.
Yeah, I mean,
you weren't too keen. I think it was what, $100?
Yeah, $100. Yeah, 100. I got it for $100.
What's it going for now?
Crime's seen a little bit of an uptick, not like horror, but it's starting to inch up if you can get the good covers.
The only problem with Authentic Police Cases 1 is that Baker didn't start to run till 6. So that's kind of the. I mean, but I thought, how many Authentic Police Cases 1 is going to be out there? I mean, it's from it's from 48. It's St. John Publishing, which is hard to find too. I mean, and I got it for $100. I mean, I can't go wrong. I graded it. I mean,
I don't know. I had some Baker crime, and it wasn't his best stuff. So,
yeah,
I'm still waiting for that big find. The old guy that sold his house, that has lived in it since the 40s, and he's finally about ready to pass away or whatever, or did just pass away, and his grandkids are pawning it off.
It's funny you say that, Ben, because literally Saturday night, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he said that his grandfather collected pre-code horror and crime books, and ever since he was a kid, and he lived in the same house that all the way up until he was in his 70s or 80s, until he died. From when he was a kid all the way up, and he would hide those books in his attic because he didn't want his parents to find them. And he literally had an attic full of crime and horror books, and nobody knew they were worth any money. And he passed away, and the grandma sold the house and didn't know the comics were in there.
Oh man!
And by the time they remember the comics were in there, or they were renting the house, I think. And by the time that they remember the comics were in there, somebody already, a renter had already taken them, and there was only a couple left up there. And he pulled out the 6 or 7 that were on there, and I want to say at least 2 of them were in that top 50 list.
Wow,
so it's crazy that you say that, because it's exactly what happened with this guy. Lost tons of probably really, really cool books because his grandma forgot about it.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, have you guys ever seen that story about the and it's not comics, but it's similar type of story where it was a story. I think it was in Ohio actually, and it was the guy had collected. He was, I don't know whatever he was, but he collected tobacco baseball cards, and he kept them in a box, and basically it was like the greatest find of all time of these. And this is a few years ago or whatever. But because he had some of the issues, people thought that there was less than 10 or 15 known to exist. And he had 6, he increased the population by 50% when they actually found these. So they sent them all to Heritage, and Heritage basically said, okay, we can't auction these all at once. You're basically going to flood the market with these ridiculously priced, cards. And they were all great. I mean, they were grading high, the highest of the Ty Cobb or something like that was a 7, and he had 2 of them graded at 9 or something. I mean, something ridiculous.
So the guy that had the 7.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it was a family thing or whatever. And, and they basically said, okay, well, you can either cash out now, or you can because they had sets set up. I mean, whole sets. And they're like, here, you can either keep your set, or you can send it to Heritage, and we're going to auction them off and split the money. And I guess there was 3 or 4 of the kids or whatever kept their sets. And the rest of them, and I think they're still auctioning them off now. They're like, we're going to auction these off over, 5-6 years.
That's a smart way to do it.
Yeah, just to maximize the profits on it. But I wonder if something like that would ever happen in comics, if anybody would actually be smart enough, or just say, oh, I've got all these comics, I'm just going to sell them all at once, and then, devalue them, basically.
You remember that
Everybody's going to have. There tend to be less people with copies upon copies upon copies of comics. They were meant to read, so most people just have you don't find 10, 20 copies of
and most of those
the old stuff.
Yeah,
True.
most of those old ones, they would roll them up and put them in their back pocket or something like that, you know?
Short of the Harvey, copies and stuff, but
There was, sorry, real quick. There was, in the 89 Upper Deck set, there was a bunch of airs, and the airs were tough to find. And a guy walked into a flea market in California and looked in, there was a bunch of monster boxes, and he looked in a couple of the monster boxes, and they were full of those airs. And the guy did something stupid, and he went on PSA forums and was like, well, I got all these airs, I'm going to start selling them. And it was the worst thing he could do, because that air turned from a $350, $400 card to a $60 card overnight, and probably less now. And then he goes, well, I'll just destroy them and only keep a handful. And they're like, nobody's going to believe you. Like, you've already fucked up.
Right.
Or you've already messed up. So, and it's exactly like Ben was saying.
That sucks, man. I wanted to bring up Lewis C in the chat a little earlier. He had a question about like investing, like seed funding for Kickstarter books. One thing he mentioned was I haven't seen this before, but I guess they sell you a package, and based on that, you get different tiers. I think I think I understand a little better now. He was basically talking about Kickstarter comics and how, you can buy different tiers, and they open up, I can't remember what it's called, when they open up a new tier or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about those. It's kind of hard.
I've never funded a Kickstarter.
I think if you invest in any of the Kickstarter, GoFundMe's, blah blah blah, and it falls through, you don't get your money back.
Well, if it's an established person, then most people are buying in, and it gets kind of overvalued. And if it's an unestablished person, you're just gambling. So who knows?
Yeah,
it's
hard. It's hard to spec on stuff like that.
Yeah, those Lady Deaths. That Brian Polito, man, he runs that thing like a perfect machine.
Hey, I want to hop back a second, because DS Comics in the chat, who I recognize from Instagram, has mentioned there was a pre-code horror collection that popped out of Florida. I don't know, it's a big 2 weeks back that, had everybody in pre-code horror jumping at and chasing. It had all the EC keys, had some huge books, but again, that I don't believe I heard that there were multiples of most of those books. It was all like just
I didn't hear that either.
A really nice, diverse set of higher grade ones that don't come up. So.
And there was people coming from out of state to try to get his collection too. It's probably the nicest pre-code horror collection you're gonna find that hasn't been cannibalized.
It makes me think of that comic book movie from God, it had to be 15 years ago, where they were fighting over a collection of a couple comic shop owners were fighting over a collection of that somebody was selling. So just everybody chasing upon this guy.
Speaking of valuable books, I watched what's that big box store reality show? That's like a comedy. I think it's on Hulu. They had like an Action Comics #1 and like a Mickey Mantle card. And they're like, this old guy's like, yeah, I was digging around my closet. I found this stuff and I was going to sell it. They were selling stuff, their personal items in the store, and just taking like PayPal payments. And it was funny. They were trying to con the system because they were getting less hours. And they just like ripped up, these millennial kids like, Action Comics #1, this shit's old, and just ripped it up in half. So it's not worth anything, old man. So, but no, and going back to Kickstarter,
Comic Book Villains, that's the show.
Yeah,
thanks, DS. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
What is it?
Comic Book Villains. It's from I don't know, had to be 10 or 15 years ago. Donald Loja is in it, and a couple other guys, and just about 2 competing comic shop owners that just do the worst stuff to buy a collection.
And I guess, has anybody really donated to a bunch of Kickstarters?
I know like some of the small publishers, Stranger does some, and they do well with it, but like to me it's like Wednesday Warring. If you're just picking random ones, if you don't know the product or you don't have a really strong feeling of the story, who knows? Yeah,
and there's a ton. I'm just looking at Kickstarter right now, boys, and there's a ton.
Some 10 or 12 on Facebook in a given day.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, you look at those Lady Death when I mean this instant. I mean, he's got his goal set at what 10 grand, and in 5 minutes he's got 35,000.
Yeah.
I mean he knows exactly what he's doing.
Well,
He's like got that zombie tramp kind of thing going. He's got
yeah. I mean, I just think and he's smart. I mean, he's picking artists. He's picking covers and artists to do the covers. I mean, he picked Art Germ to do that one. I mean, he knew that he could get $800 a piece on those. I mean, so he's not stupid. He's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go out and get these really good artists that everybody likes, and I'll just charge whatever I want to for them.
Well, and I think, Art Germ doing a cover is probably not cheap nowadays either. I mean,
no, but I mean, we all bust his balls, but J. Scott Campbell figured out the system and is getting as much money as he can. You know, same thing with the Lady Death. He's figured out, here's how I'm going to make the most money. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Can't hate the hustle.
Nah. It's like
I would rather the artist make the money than some of these store variant places.
Well, that's what Brian Pulido and some of those guys are doing. They're totally taking out the middleman, and I'm all for that at this point.
Mendoza does the same thing with his
Mendoza.
And both those guys are from here, I believe. I know Brian's here. I'm pretty sure Mendoza's here. So there's a reason why he's doing a lot of that stuff.
This one looks interesting. I mean, I think it's done. I don't know. I don't think I can support it anymore. Neptune Radio #1. This one looks interesting. It's a story about after the pandemic, gas is God, and his chosen disciple is a radio DJ. The wasteland's future depends on one bounty hunter and his monkey. So kind of like a rip on Why the Last Man, maybe.
I guess the other question might be what Kickstarter ones really were worth it.
Who was it? Somebody. Sorry, go ahead. I'll remember it.
Did you guys see that in the chat that Blue Green Artifacts? He said that's what his Rider Wars article was about Kickstarter.
Oh, nice.
We'll have to check it out. I did not get a chance to yet.
Who's the guy that did the hip hop comics? You remember that guy? The first one was a free comic book day one.
Oh yeah.
Before that free comic book day one, he did a couple of Kickstarter issues, and that's how that got booked. I think got some eyes on it is because of the Kickstarter, and then they're like, okay, well, let's put out a free comic book day, and one of people like it. And now Ed Pastor, he's doing the X-Men book right now. And
GoFundMe is another one where they do comics. I'm trying to find the one that I supported.
or Rags.
Jawbreakers, Lost Souls graphic novel back when.
I mean, there's going to be some hits. It's just, man, you got to do your research, and you got to, want to gamble a bit.
Z, you want to touch a little bit on our next topic?
Which one is that one?
Or do you want to skip to Favor 5? Facebook or Favor 5?
We can talk about Facebook. We're a little bit ranty. As some of you know that join Facebook, we do have a Facebook page. That recently it's been a lot of complainy posts, not enough spec, or why do you have a spoiler ban on in-game, or why do you do this? Why do you not delete more posts? Why do you delete my post? And I think everybody's so frustrated about everything little. It's like there's a group of 4,000 people, maybe bigger now. I've lost
7.
track. What?
7.
7. Oh, group of 7,000 people, and a lot of them want to contribute, and there's different levels of spec and different levels of people, and people that just spec their first book, and people have been doing it 15 years, and everybody's got their own idea, and the Facebook page is kind of like Facebook, it's kind of for everybody. So we got to be a little lenient on how we admin it and how we what we delete and why we delete it. And we're just trying to keep the peace. Almost, we're not trying to make it it's not Google Plus, it's not 100% 100% spec all the time. We let some people post some random questions, some random stuff. And
Well, and if they want that, there's an alternative for it. It's the MeWe group, right?
the MeWe group is a little smaller group, a little tighter run, a little tighter admin, and mostly spec. And if you want spec all the time, then go to the website, comicbookinvest.com. That's where people are putting out articles every day, 2 or 3 a day most days.
Hey, and the forums are still there, as far as I know.
On the forums,
I used to be on the forums all the time.
Yeah.
But there was too many different things, and I just jumped off of them. But
if you want pure spec, hit the website. If you want a little more kind of tightly run spec focus, then hit MeWe. Facebook is a little bit of it's a home for everyone, so to speak, on whatever they want to do. As long as you're polite and not upsetting the course, we're probably going to let it ride. And for the in-game spoilers, listen, that was a special event. People had been waiting years and years and years. We're not ruining it so you can make $6 flipping a book. There's other groups for that.
Yeah.
And we weren't the only group with a ban on that either. So yeah, speculation's in our name, but I mean, shoot, gotta, respect it as well. So sorry, not sorry, but I mean, the other posts have spec in it too. It's not going to say speculation post in big letters. Take a look at pickups. Kind of read between the lines. The Walker report on the website. Tim Walker's posts have always been free spec, pretty much. You just gotta, the ghost books can be spec too, as far as what's going to sell, or what's hard to find and could be made hot overnight, or who knows. So just want to bring that up. We do our best to admin to the best of our abilities, and if you see something we miss, you can always report it, and we'll review it.
I think we look at
we're hurting.
Yeah, I think we look at those reports when people report those. I think we look at those pretty fast because I've seen a report post pop up on my feed, and I go in and somebody's already looked at it. So I know we look at those pretty quick.
Yeah, we have 5 rules for the group.
Yeah, it's mostly just don't use the F word. I mean, just refrain from that. But people still do that. But if you wonder why your post gets nuked really fast, drop the F-bomb and you'll see your post get nuked really fast.
Also, throw up some spec yourself.
Go
figure out some spec and throw it up. And more people will start doing it, and
it's the least intimidating place to throw some spec up because.
And I think the big thing was how people were talking about how like Naomi was getting brought up every 5 seconds. It's like, dude, like hot books are gonna get brought up. I mean, and of course not everybody looks at the latest post. They just post what's on their mind. Like I mean, we went through Naomi, the Captain Marvel Walmart books. I mean, it's just gonna happen. So.
I mean, if you want an intimidating first post, try doing Google Plus about 5 years ago, where everybody's posting hardcore stuff, and you got to come up with something interesting that they don't laugh at.
Dude, I just liked a bunch of stuff back in the day. Liked and commented. Oh, good stuff. I don't know what the hell I was doing. Good stuff.
Oh, I remember before.
Hasn't paid off, for love of God.
I remember before Google Plus, exploded, or before it went away, and I went back and was like, I'm going to look at what my very first post was. And I was like, man, I was fishing for friends or something. I'm like, hey, look, I love comics too. I think you guys are great. It was bad.
I wrote like 5 paragraphs on why Ragman 1 was good spec. So
I think mine used to be I used to look at the movie news and just post the movie news. I was like, try to be first on movie news posts. Back in the day.
And the thing, sorry, jumping back to Facebook real quick, is we got to consider everybody, men, women, kids, everybody can be on there. So
and
that's the thing too.
Well, there are new people joining every day. I mean, there's people who've been in the comic book game for years and years and years and years. And there's guys who are just starting to collect, man. I mean,
there's comic book store owners in there too. So
yeah.
It's adding. I think I looked at the stats the other day. I think we're adding like 200 people per week
And if you invite your friends, they have to answer those questions. 3 simple questions, pretty much just to make sure you're a real person. If you made your profile on May 13th of 2019, you might not be getting in.
And are from Malaysia or Nigeria.
Right. So just a heads up. I've declined people because they don't answer the questions. So.
Oh, Paul's mean.
Yeah. Sick of this stuff. But anyway, so that was our little Facebook rant. And
Paul, you're really tough behind that keyboard, buddy.
Yeah, I've gone through 3 keyboards since we opened this Facebook group. I'm just burning through them. Brian, you wanna head up our new topic?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what we're gonna do tonight.
Yeah, we got a new thing that we're going to try. We're calling it our favorite 5, and it'll be all kinds of different stuff. We all got different things that we enjoy, and we're trying to get people some enjoyment out of what we enjoy. So be on the lookout for the favorite 5. I'm going to kick it off tonight by not doing my favorite 5. I'm going to be doing close to my favorite 10 probably, because we're starting it off with sports cards, just because that was something.
Brian was the least lazy tonight.
Yeah. And I've talked about some with you guys before. The reason why I went over 5 is because these are pretty quick, and I've got so many that I enjoy that I just wanted to go over a couple more. So I got about 10. I've showed you guys some of them before. Now these are just my favorite cards that I own right now. They're most expensive. They're not hardest to get. They're what I enjoy, and I do plan on doing some more spec with cards and stuff that I will incorporate onto this, and we'll give you some fun with the card stuff. But this is just some different stuff of my favorite cards, and I'll explain why. I've talked to you guys a lot about this card, so I'm not going to really in the group. This is the Kurt Warner Taco John's card that was printed by a local restaurant in Iowa. It's like a Taco Bell. And they call it the Taco John's card, and it's very hard to find in good condition because the material they use to print these on isn't regular card material, and they cut them all themselves. So it's very hard to get good centering. This is one that I got. It's a BG Beckett Grading Services 8.5. There's very few of these graded, and I did talk about getting burned by a reissue because I can't read correctly. So always be careful on these really tough to find cards, but this is one I've kind of talked about before. So let's get to the 10 here real quick that I've picked out. Here we go. So this is one of my all-time favorite cards because of the style or the layout of the card. I think it's one of the best looking cards that was ever, or sets that was ever created, because they kept the layout for the whole set. Wonderful set and a wonderful card. And it's the, I believe this is the 70-71 Topps hockey set. And this is the Bobby card. And I'm a huge Bobby Orr fan. My family.
Damn.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful card, beautiful setting. The white borders, the colors that they choose. They choose a lot of different colors for each team, so they're like these bright colors. And then you just got a pose from your player, and that's a perfect Bobby Orr card in my opinion. So a big fan of Bobby Orr. Grew up, all my dads and all his uncles were all Boston fans and Bobby Orr fans, and that's all I heard about was growing up was Boston Celtics, Boston Bruins, all that stuff. And I kind of chose to talk about it now, but I was talking about it a little bit earlier. I grew up liking the Bruins. Ray Bourque was one of my all-time favorite players. Watching him hoist the cup, not in a Bruins jersey, really, really hurt, but it was cool to see. I hate the Bruins. So, unfortunately, it's not. Bobby Orr is good, but Brad Marchand has really ruined my taste for the Bruins. So I'm hoping they don't win the series.
Right. You know what's funny? We all hate Marchand, but he's gonna win the Stanley Cup.
I know. I fucking hate the guy though, man. He's so
He's
good.
gonna spike the Stanley Cup right in the center of the ice.
Yeah. There's just, he's just. I don't like him off the ice either. He's just a jerk.
Yeah, that's what I heard too, man. You know, it's like even Sidney Crosby's like one of those guys you hate, but if he was on your team you like, he's just a guy I
he's
hate.
A class act. Yeah, he's a class act off the ice. So this is one of my all-time favorite cards because this is the first time I remember seeing a Michael Jordan card and noticing and it's everything we remember of Michael Jordan. It's not his rookie, and his rookie does this well too, but I just don't own his rookie. This is the 88 Fleer All-Star Team card, and it's his dunk from the dunk contest. So, and I pulled this out of a pack that I opened not too long, probably 4 or 5 years ago. So, I remember seeing this card as a kid, though.
Centering was such a bear on that card.
So hard, man. And some of these with the back centering too is just bad. So
that is rough.
Yeah, but such a cool card.
What's that one price wise?
It's not very expensive. You can get raws for probably $10.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's weird to me, cards like some stuff that are cool. It's like really cheap. It's like weird. Like even like Barry Sanders cards are cheap. I mean, not tens obviously, but
and the Detroit discount, man.
I know.
You got to remember a lot of the cards that were coming out when we were growing up got overprinted. So even though some of these cards when we were kids were our favorite cards, they're really easy to get now. And I got a couple of those in here, and I'll show you those cards. This card is really cool. When the Garbage Pail Kids decided to re-release the sets, but in the Topps Chrome design, it was so cool for them to do that, and they released them in the same 5-card packs, if I remember correctly. And I remember seeing it at a grocery store first, and it instantly took me back to being a kid. And so I bought a little blaster box, and it was so much fun opening. And then I got this, and I couldn't believe it because I'm such a big fan of the Garbage Pail Kids. They really created my collecting buzz and everything. And this was in one of the packs, and it was so exciting to get. And for those of you who don't know, John Pound was the original Garbage Pail Kids artist. There was a couple that did the first series, but John Pound is known for most of them. And this is a John Pound on-card auto. He did an auto for every card in the set that he did, and he signed a bunch of them. Now I don't know how many of these are because it's not numbered, but that was just so cool to me to get, a John Pound on-card auto and a blaster box. So just a really cool card. This is a tough card that in the 90s, this was one of the cards that created the cards we have nowadays. It was part of that first Contenders, one of the first Contenders set that started having the autographs. And when his first NFL cards came out, there was so much buzz around him because he had, nobody had known of him until, he threw his first couple passes, in the league. And he's also one of my all-time favorite sports personalities, and that's Kurt Warner. This is the Playoff Contenders SSD rookie. Really tough card to find in good condition.
I love that card.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. It's got the refractor type stuff before, Topps Chrome was doing refractors, and just a beautiful card, really tough to get, and on-card auto of, Kurt Warner in his rookie year. So just beautiful card. So here's a really cool card not a lot of people know about. And growing up, Action Packed were one of my favorite designs of cards. A lot of people love this design. They were the first card to do like the 3D raised printing, and a lot of people who collected cards in the early 90s will remember the set, especially for the football cards. That's kind of where their bread and butter was in football. But they did put out some promos of other sports. The really tough one to find is the Michael Jordan. They did do a Magic Johnson. I want to say they did some other guys like Patrick Ewing and maybe David Robinson. I'm not sure. but they did two, if I remember correctly. There's a Mario Lemieux promo for hockey and a Wayne Gretzky. And the Wayne Gretzky is really tough to find. It's one of the toughest Wayne Gretzky cards to find in good condition because they were promos that were just handed out, and they didn't do many of them. And you can see on the back it says sample copy over it, and yeah, just a really cool card. And I chased this for a while and finally got one at a good price. So that's the 1990 Action Pack promo Wayne Gretzky card. This next one is just a cool story from, when I was in my teenage years. I think I was probably, I guess I was 14 or 15, maybe 13. We used to go to the Arizona Fall League games all the time just because they were fun. There wasn't very many people there. You saw a lot of really cool prospects. The first year I went was the first year they did stuff, and that was Piazza's year. And then, it just caught on. Me and my buddy were into sports cards. We enjoyed, getting autographs. So we would just go break all these minor league boxes. And at the time, Derek Jeter was a known name, but he was nowhere near what he is now, considered now. And this card I got signed at the Fall League. I probably got 40 Jeter autographs at the Fall League. I gave away most of them because I didn't think they would be worth a ton of money. So I gave them away to a lot of my Yankee fans, when he was doing good and stuff. But this, I kept 4 or 5 of them. This is one I kept because it's one of my all-time favorite layouts of a card, and his autograph is probably one of the most beautiful autographs out of any. And this is the 94 Upper Deck Jeter prospect card. But you can see it's got that chrome stuff. It's a sideways card, and his if you guys can't see the autograph on that, go look up Jeter's autograph. It's so beautiful, and it was like this from the very beginning. He didn't change it, so. Very cool card. And then
that's awesome.
Yeah. And it is a PSA 9. So I couldn't believe that this card was when the way we used to go get autographs at Fall League games, and I think a lot of people see it nowadays, but it was so new back then that it blew players away. And some players didn't like it. Peter didn't care. We would get folders, and we would put little corner slips on these pages of the paper folders, and put like 9 cards in there, and they could then that would just hand them a pen and they could sign all of them really quick. And it was so much fun. For like 3 years we would go and just get hundreds and hundreds of autographs. You name the player, and I probably got 10 or more autographs of them in those first 3 years. And we were lucky that Jeter showed up for the first half of that year. So very cool.
Did you get that one signed yourself?
I did. All my Jeter autographs were signed myself. I sent 4 of them in to PSA to get graded and authenticated. PSA will do, they do autographs 2 ways. They'll do the blue label, which just authenticates the autograph and doesn't really grade the card, or they'll do the red label, which authenticates the autograph and grades the card.
Can you choose?
And this
yes.
is, yeah.
So like a lot of the cards may not be, they may only be like a 5 or something like that. They may not be in the greatest shape. Yeah. So if you have a card and it says PSA 5, then it doesn't look as desirable if it just says authentic.
Yeah. So if you see a red label autograph with a high grade and it's an older card, it's tough to get because it's authenticated and it's a high grade card. And this card, like I said, was in photo slips. We didn't think about grading back in 94 or 93. It wasn't even on my mind back then. So very cool card. This kind of hits home for a lot of people here out in Arizona, and he only had a few cards. And this to me is one of my all-time favorite cards. We're getting up close to like the top 6, 7, 5 cards here. And this is a 2001 Fleer Glossy Pat Tillman rookie PSA 10. Oh, and nice. This is a really cool card because they did a little set within the set called Unsung Heroes, and they put Pat Tillman in that set. And I don't know, I get a little choked up even talking about it because he might have not been the biggest, coolest dude in the world. I know a lot of people talk about his military days as him being an asshole, but I think that was kind of like what he had to do in that time period. This guy right here, I hold in high regard. nobody can tell me anything bad about this guy. So this is a really cool card. Fleer glossy 2001 Pat Tillman rookie. This card right here is one of those cards that in the 90s it just went crazy. And
what makes that one emotional for you? Just how you got it, or?
So living in Arizona, Pat Tillman is a hero. I mean, watching him at ASU, he was the best player on that team. I know Jake Plummer played on that team, and a lot of NFL draft picks played on the team. Nobody played like this guy. This guy probably had the strongest heart out of any professional player I can think of since I remember watching sports. He wasn't a very good athlete. He just, in the beginning, he just, he had the heart, and he turned into an absolute stud and a leader. And there's a couple cards I have in this run of people who I think are just some of the best leaders in all of, not just sports, everything.
And he forego millions of dollars on his contract too.
Yeah. And he got drafted by the Cardinals. He played a couple years for the Cardinals. He was freaking great. And then when 9/11 happened, he said, all right, I'm not going to play football. Football doesn't matter. And like Dino said, he passed up millions of dollars in a new contract. Him and his brother both signed up for the Special Forces, and they both were in Afghanistan a couple months later. And if anybody out there doesn't know about Pat Tillman, please go and do some research. Watch the documentary. Sad story. Outstanding character in this guy. Just a good dude and a local hero. So,
yep, sweet.
Getting back to that card, like I said, this is one of the cards in the 90s that went crazy that you can find nowadays for pretty cheap. And do your research, because there's a lot of stuff that goes along with this card. And I think I've told this story before. This is the 1990 Pro Set Football Vince Lombardi Trophy hologram. This came out second year that Pro Set did cards. They started out in '89 with the Barry Sanders and Troy Aikman rookie year set. They did 2-3 series in that set. This comes from the next year they did, and they were the first company that I remember doing like insert cards that were hard to get. You would get a couple per case, this and that. It was said at the time that these Lombardi cards, if you're lucky, came at one per case, and everybody was going crazy for them. They were buying cases and putting the boxes through X-ray machines to see if they could see the foil or the hologram foil and stuff. And this card was just, everybody wanted this card, and that Pro Set stuff sold like crazy, and it's not worth even using as tinder for your fire. This is maybe one of the few cards out of that set that's worth getting. The reason why I love this card is because so many memories of, going to the card store with my buddies, talking about this card, going to shows, seeing this card, hearing about this card. This card ignited that collecting buzz in me about chasing those cards, chasing those comics, chasing those things. This is the card, the 90 Pro Set Lombardi Trophy. And this one is, was one of the, like I said, one of the first inserts, one of the first rarer cards. We thought 10 million back then was rare. You could see the back number. It's numbered out of 10 million. Yeah, right.
10 million or 10,000?
10 million. 10 million.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, this is a joke how crazy we went for this card.
I mean, if you have 0001 and 10 million, it's probably the only ones that matter, right?
I don't know. The memories is what makes this card great.
On 10 million doesn't even work to me, but holy cow.
Yeah. So here's another guy. Just one of my, I can't believe I got this card. This came out of luck with a buddy on the PSA forums when I got back into cards. I'm a big coast to coast and fringe UFO, crazy stuff guy. And back in the day, I used to watch wrestling a little bit when I was a kid. And this guy was one of my favorite wrestlers as a kid. And I remember seeing him in Predator and hearing about, did you know that Jesse Ventura's in Predator, and how cool it was to see him in Predator, and then when he got his TV show, like about all the fringe topics, and then, he became a governor and all this stuff. I couldn't wait to get my hands on this, and I got lucky and got one. These cards are very tough to find in good condition. Probably this set is the top 10 most iconic sets in all of cards, I would say, for the whole group. This is the 82 Wrestling Series B. Super tough set to find. These were only they were advertised in wrestling magazines, and you would send your money to the company and you would get, the first series. And I think they did like 4 series, 5 series, 3 series. And they're all the same type of design, but with different colors. And each person was always the same color. The centering is very tough on them. If you look at some of the high PSAs for some of these cards, it is ridiculous what they go for. I mean, absolutely outrageous. Some of the prices on these.
What kind of hat is that?
This is when Jesse Ventura had the bleach blonde hair, the sunglasses, and the fur hat.
Dude, he was bowling at like halfway into his running wrestling. It was terrible.
Yeah, man. I mean,
he was like Hulk Hogan yet before Hulk Hogan.
Exactly. So this is a very cool card, and it's autographed. So
what's the you're talking insane numbers? How about insane? Because I mean,
well, let's look up. Let's look up
5 figures, 4 figures.
Look up prices for like a PSA 9 or PSA 9 Hulk Hogan in that card and what they sell for it.
What year was that?
They were 82 and 83. So just they're the 82 Wrestling. I forget what company this is, because PSA doesn't put it on there. Wrestling All Stars is what they're called. 82 Wrestling All Stars. And look at some of the prices. And the reason why I say it's outrageous is because these cards aren't. We're talking about wrestling cards here. We're not talking about.
So I just pulled up on PSA's. They've got a price guide on their website. Andre the Giant, PSA 9, 3,500.
No shit.
Hulk Hogan, 2,500. Ric Flair, if you get a 10, 2,500.
Yep.
I mean, that's.
Macho Man, was Macho Man on there?
Macho Man was Macho Man on there? I don't think Macho Man was on there. I think Macho Man didn't come out till the top cards.
I don't know. Let me see. They had an A and a B set.
Were the ice cream cards worth a lot of money?
The ice cream cards. What are those?
Remember WWF back in the day had ice cream sandwiches? Didn't they have cards in the ice cream sandwich?
Oh yeah, those are worth money too, because you can grade those too. Old school wrestling ephemera, paper products, magazines, cards.
There just isn't much out there even on.
There isn't, and especially in good condition. And if you look at some of the guys that really get deep into this wrestling collection stuff,
I'm huge into it, dude. Not like huge, but yeah, I know.
Some of these guys. So most of the wrestlers got their start in Japan, right?
Yep.
So their real true rookies are in Japanese magazines that came out in the 70s. All right. And these cards and these magazines had like cut out cards that probably weren't good material. Kind of like when Z talks about the Mary Marvel book with the back and how it had the little cutouts. Those old Japanese magazines had the same thing, and those guys collect those and get them graded. They cut them, they hand cut them. PSA will grade hand cut stuff, and they go really hard on the hand cut stuff. But they get graded and they get sold for a ridiculous amount of money too. So wrestling fans, we all know wrestling fans get crazy. Wrestling fans that are collectors get real crazy. So
most of them are 6s and 8s, man.
Yeah, they're very hard to find in good condition because, nobody cared about condition back then.
Well, they've got it listed, and the last Andre the Giant PSA 9 actually sold for $5,200, but that was back in 2016. So
it's probably
the only Andres I see are 6s, and they're still like several $100.
Yeah.
So, Brian, what would you tell? So, I'm not going to do this. I know Z, you have a comment, but if I ask you, like, all right, I want to get into cards, what would I do? go to Walmart and buy a box, buy a pack? Like
No.
what
Dude.
tops? I don't know what.
It's funny because I can't remember who asked on the chat last week or the week before, what's a good place to go. And Scott kind of talked about Beckett. The first thing that I would do if I was going to get into this market is do your research, because if you think your research in comics is crazy, the research in this is real crazy. And it's just like comics. It can be really volatile. I mean, Ben, how much was that Trout rookie? How much did that Trout rookie sell for?
Oh, what, 50 grand?
Yeah, 50 grand. And that card's not even 10 years old. So
what was the buy-in for that though?
Well, see, that's the thing is when you talk about cards, and I can't remember who I was talking. Maybe it was Z. I don't remember. But I mean, when you talk about some of the newer products where one box of cards is one pack, so you get like 6 cards, and it's $1,000 buy-in. I mean, you could nail it and get something that's going to double your money, triple your money, but you could also lose big. So there's a lot more risk, but there is a lot higher. I mean, when you think about how many comics are 50 grand, I mean, that's a really small list, and you're going to have to go back silver. There's very, very few books, within the past 30 years that are going to be $50,000 books.
Yeah.
And you just type in PSA 10 and go highest priced. I mean, you're like, wow, there are a bunch. I mean, if you bought in on Giannis Ante, 2 years ago, I mean, you could have gotten him for way. I mean, you wouldn't even had to bust product. You could have basically bought in on him.
Yeah.
You
a
could
lot
have.
of people are doing that right now. I think those few guys that have just gone crazy are making people look at who are some other guys. And me and Ben had this conversation a couple of nights ago, and it's something we definitely want to talk about more of, because there's some real money to be made, I think, in investing the right stuff. So I got 4 more cards and then we're done. And these are my favorite 4 cards that I own right now.
You're
number
supposed
4
to have started at 5. Favorite 5.
I know, right?
Branding.
Here's number 4.
5-0.
Back a couple of years ago when the Rangers went to the Cup, I'm a huge Rangers fan, New York Rangers fan. They traded for one of my favorite players of all time, and it just made me look at him more and respect him more and what he did during this time, and that's Marty St. Louis. And Marty St. Louis, for those of you guys don't know, he was undersized forward in hockey, really small, 5. I don't even think he was 6 foot. He's probably like 5'something, 5'5", 5'6". But through just hard work and determination, he made it into the NHL and became probably one of the top 50 players of all time. And won MVPs, won scoring records, won a cup. Just a really cool dude. Became a lot of people's favorite player. And he had a little issue the last year he was in Tampa with Steve Yzerman, who was the GM. Yzerman was also the GM at the time of the Olympic hockey Canadian team, and Yzerman passed up on Marty St. Louis, and St. Louis didn't like it because he was still one of the best players. And then a player got hurt, and Yzerman came and said, "Okay, now we'll take you." And Marty St. Louis just lost respect for him, so he demanded a trade, and they traded him to the Rangers. And when they traded him to the Rangers, at the same time, his mother died, and he joined the Rangers. During he's a mama's boy, and it was hard for him to join that team, but he kind of used that to put them on his back and win and get all the way to the finals. And they lost in Game 6 to LA, but it was just amazing because crazy things would happen that you just knew, there was some other energy that was happening. He would win Game 7 multiple times, or he would put the team on his back, and they won a playoff game on Mother's Day. Like that, he came back and won the game for him on Mother's Day. And just talking about that, it's giving me kind of goosebumps because it was just so cool. This is one of his toughest cards to find, if not his toughest card. This is his rookie card. His rookie card was in 98, 99 Upper Deck, and this is the Upper Deck exclusives version where they only printed 100 of this card. And it's just a really tough card to find. I've been looking for it for years, and I finally found it. And this is just he's a really good story, and it's a really cool card. So there's you can see it's numbered out of 100 and very tough.
Is that other one? Was the other one 10 million for sure? It's
yeah.
10 million.
Is it 10 million or 10,000? I believe
That was
because it says 5622 of 10M, and I take that as 10 million. So
10,000.
That's 10,000.
10,000. Okay.
10M is 10,000. How?
It's Roman numerals.
Ah, I got you.
1,000.
Okay, then 10,000. Ben, you brought that up too, that you thought it was 10,000.
Yeah,
So-
10 million. That's a lot of fucking cards, man.
Yeah.
It's a shit ton.
Number 3, Mark Messier rookie. I own 3 or 4 of them. I know I have 3 graded.
I mean, he was an okay player.
Again, this goes back to obviously being a Rangers fan, but it also goes to, if you guys don't know about Mark Messier, do yourself a favor and go watch a documentary on YouTube about him.
Isn't he still playing?
He's not. Yeah, he's not. But
No, it felt like he played.
That's the
felt
joke,
like he's
because he played in forever because he could. This is the only guy to not only play in the Winter Classic, like Legends skate, where all the old school teammates play. He played in the regular game too. So, played in the very first Winter Classic up in Edmonton, super cold against the Rangers. He played as an Edmonton great in the pre-skate game, and then put on his Rangers uniform and went and played the regular game. And there are a couple reasons why I like this card. This is the OPG version. I only own the OPG version just because you guys know I like the OPG, the crazy way these cards were made, and super hard to get in high grade. And I think of Mark Messier, I think of the bald head. He was bald. He shaved his head. This Mark Messier has got long hair, and I just think it's funny to kind of see that. And he won 6 cups. Sorry,
Crap Edmonton and New York.
What's that? 6 cups.
Yeah, 6 cups. A crap ton with Edmonton and then New York.
Yeah, and what Messier did in that year in those first 3 years, he got traded to New York, all because New York was like, we haven't won a cup in 40 years, or since 1940 something, and we get shit about it. We're the greatest or second greatest hockey franchise of all time, and we need to win a cup. And so they went out and got the greatest leader, in my opinion, hockey has ever seen. And I'm not saying he's better than Gretzky or better than Gordie Howe, but when it comes to leading players or men to get something done that they might not be able to on pure talent alone, this guy, you could put a bunch of schlubs on the ice and this guy's going to turn them into hockey, greats. And look who he did that to. I mean, yeah, Gretzky was on the team, but he did that with Glenn Anderson and Yari Curry was amazing when he played with this guy. Glenn Anderson, like I said, Scott, I can't remember a couple of Esa Tikkanen, these guys. He came to the Rangers. He said, I'm going to win a cup. He went out and put together one of the best regular seasons of all time. Was best team in that season. They went out in the first round.
They had Leach too, right?
Brian Leach, young Brian Leach. The next year, they didn't even make the playoffs, and he said, I came here to win a cup. I'm going to win a cup. And he went and talked to the owners and said, you give me some players. I want these type of players. Put them around me, and I'll win that cup. They went and got a bunch of role players that Mark Messier could lead, and they went and won the cup. And one of the best stories about Mark Messier is they were down 3-2 against New Jersey in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And New Jersey is the team that these two teams hate each other. They usually start games with a line brawl. You know what I mean? And the next day, he went before the game, the couple days before the game, he goes, I guarantee we're going to win the next game. He called it. And players never did that back then. He said, we're going to win the next game. The next game, they go out on the ice and they look like shit the first 2 periods. They're down 3 goals in the second. Mark Messier goes and scores 3 consecutive goals, puts the team on their back. They win that game. They go to the cup. They win the cup. If any of you guys are hockey fans, you know about the Mark Messier grabbing the cup when he won that Rangers Cup and him jumping around like a little kid. This guy's cool, really cool dude, great hockey player, stand up. One of my favorite all-time cards. Last two. I told the story about this on here. This is the Michael Jordan minor league upper deck gold card. This is just a good story about my dad. My dad would pull my packs if he was with me. We went to a huge card show. He pulled the pack. I pulled the Jordan. It was the card that everybody was talking about at the time. This is the 1 in 15,000 gold version. They did a silver version. And I got it graded just, as a card I had when I was a kid, just because it was such a good memory of me and my dad. So, and the last card, it's actually two cards, and you guys will know why. This is what got me to get into collecting, and that was Garbage Pail Kids. And these are the two that I just are my favorite cards, and most people's favorite cards because they're iconic for the Garbage Pail Kids. You think of Garbage Pail Kids, you think of Atom Bomb. And this card right here, this Atom Bomb Blasted Billy, number 8 in the series. Atom Bomb was 8A, Blasted Billy was 8B. Iconic, just this art alone, iconic art. So this will always be number one. Even if I get the Gretzky rookie, this will always be number one because this started my love for chasing and collecting things. So this is it. And that be done. I'm sorry it was so long, guys, but I had so many cards here. I just wanted to go through, enough to give a nice little segment. So that be done.
Cool.
I hope we get more people into cards. There's some crazy stuff going on with cards now and breaks and stuff like that. So definitely research it if you guys want to get into it.
I think we should do a box break between us.
We should. I agree. I think we should go
about that, didn't we? All buying in on one.
There's like 6 of us. So what? $6,000 box, $1,000 a piece. Let's go.
I was thinking more like a $1,000 box at the most.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I'm joking.
Let's just get one of those boxes with 1 pack 6 cards. We'll really go fucking balls out.
We could do that. That's how they do those. Those big boxes. You can go look up some of the breaks of what's that new set that's out? That baseball set that's like $1,000 or like $1,500 a box, and you only get 6 cards. It's a top set. You know what I'm talking about?
I can't think right off the top of my head.
Yeah, they just came out. It's like a new set. Super high end. Patches and autographs and on card autographs and Hall of Famers.
I see Baseball Card Exchange always post a bunch of patches as one of their Instagram posts.
Yep. Baseball Card Exchange would be the place to go to get it. That's the only place that I really feel comfortable buying wax from. You might not get the best deal, but you have a better chances of it not being searched. So they certify everything that they sell. So it'd be cool to pick up.
They're good guys.
Yeah, it'd be cool to pick up a box from the '80s. A football box from the '80s or
top definitive.
I think that might be it. I've seen a couple cool videos on YouTube. A guy, Angels fan, went to a store in Anaheim and bought the first box that they got, and they had never seen anybody open one. And they go, they ask him, who's your favorite team, and what's the type, who are you looking to pull? And he's like, I'm an Angels fan, and my favorite players are Mike Trout and Ohani. And he goes, if I could pull anything Mike Trout would be great, but I'm just, any Angels would be great. And he's opening up the box, and you can see the video. It's on YouTube. He's pulling all these cool patches. I think he pulled a Thor on-card auto patch where he even signed it Thor on the bottom, the Syndergaard or whatever his name is for the Mets, which was a cool card for that, And halfway through the pack, or like the second to last card, was a 1-of-1 redemption for Ohani or something like that. And the guy just goes crazy. And that's chasing right there. That's the gambling part, opening wax. So that's why it's so fun.
Sweet. We'll wrap it up for the week.
I want to throw a shout out to our missing member, Brian Woods, Simple Man's Comics. If you have not had a chance check out his YouTube review of the BCW store folios. He's gonna have a series of reviews for some BCW products, so check them out.
All right. You want to take me off presenting, Dino?
Yep.
And then a shout out as well to CBSI Swag. Is it cbsiswag.com?
Yep.
All right, I closed the link before I started talking about it. cbsiswag.com. So the shirt that Dino has on,
Yep.
May, what is it, 31st? Or so,
Thanos is snapping those out.
yeah, some shirts are going to be no longer available. I put a post on Facebook, so
Limited edition, man. These are rare. Okay, hard to find.
it'll be going away soon. So if you like what you see, there's some other characters available on the website. Check it out and get it before it's gone.
Cool. And it's a hero. I think it's heroes and villains style shirts. If they have a name like heroes and villains. So yeah, we got them serial numbered. That's right. So okay, boys. Great show. So everybody knows next Monday, we'll have probably a new favorite 5, and we'll
try and keep it closer to 5.
Yeah,
Favorite 5-ish,
or maybe 15, 500.
Yeah, maybe the whole show will just be favorite 5 stuff.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Everybody have a good week. We'll talk to everybody later.
All right, see you.
Later.